as I go back 40 years ago and remember what we had. A galvanised iron building, no real good facilities, no air conditioning, that's for sure, no ceilings, no carpet on the floor, just
no decent bus.
No decent buses, cattle trucks, different things like that. But it's amazing for me just to see the vision, to see it just going on. And I honestly today, as I walked through those classrooms and just saw those kids and the looks on their faces, the smiles on their faces, and I was just blown away, really. Hey?
It's fulfilling.
So fulfilling, yeah.
We weren't the model school. We were something a bit different. Very much a little bit rebellious in a way, I guess. We didn't quite fit the mould, and so that sort of set the school apart, I think, and that was part of the excitement of being part of it. We did things a bit differently, and it was a lot of fun, a lot of challenges, but we were a school in our own right, just a little bit different.
And I remember when we first decided we were starting and breaking ground, coming here, buying this property and using it as a church of a weekend, and then starting to open it up as a school. The transition every weekend of changing over chairs, stacking away desks, and just seeing it all happen, and our own children involved in it. It was just an amazing, to look back on it, it just seems a forever story.
There were wonderful moments in those early days. I remember once we had a newspaper journalist come to the school and ask could he wander around and talk to the students. So in those days, as leadership, we didn't think too much about that being a bad thing. What were we thinking? So we said, go ahead. So we walked around and interviewed students. And we looked with great favour on the newspaper the next day, and it came out and it called it The School That Loves. We read it, we looked at each other and we said, did you know we did this? No, did you? Okay. So that was an accidental discovery of our school. And we said, look, let's make that policy. So we did. And I think Suncoast has really gone on from strength to strength to be the school that cares and loves people.
I've had 2 sessions of working at the school. I worked with Clem through those pioneering days, which were really wild days, all sorts of things happening, times when we couldn't even get into the school unless you waded through thick mud, working in impromptu situations. And then the second time I worked, I came back and worked. The school had come of age and it was a different experience again. But the underlying thread that came, whether it was pioneering or the school as a mature school, was this deep sense of community, a deep sense of caring, and a tenacity about the school. If the school had just been a Christian school based on perhaps the initial ideals of Christian education, it may not have reached its 40th anniversary. What I love about this school was its ability to flex and change and to move with what was happening with Christian education.
I remember employing Greg quite clearly. Just a very special guy, and as principal now, I think that's just excellent. But I guess what sets Greg apart is his ability to moon dance and do the, what do you call it, the
Nut bush.
Oh, and do the nut bush.
One of the funniest things happened was years ago, prior to Facebook and phones and things like that. I'd go on camps, and I remember waking up one morning, coming out of my tent. It must have been the year 9 or 10 camp up the beach, and there was all these bottles in front of me, and I was a bit, tired. And I could see these bottles, and I could see all these kids with cameras, And the kids had found beer bottles in the bush, placed them around my tent, and as I'm coming out, they were taking photos. Now.
And our end of year breakups were ridiculous. They were absolutely absurd, and mainly led by Greg Matisky and Terry Hornby and Francis McLaren.
One night I was picking Chris up late from work and parked the car up near where the library now is. Left the handbrake off. The car, we walked away. The car rolled back down in the darkness and there was a terrible noise, and I thought, oh no, there's vandals in the school. And then looked down and the car had taken out the bus shed.
There were plenty of light-hearted moments, bumping into students at the plaza, having conversations with them there. One night I was just after OPs had come out, I was sitting outside that burger joint at the bridge, and I don't know, there must have been 12 or 13 year 12s that came by, and we chatted, and there was a older couple sitting there, and after the last one left they said, "Are you a surfing coach or something else?" And I said, "No." And they said, "Well, you just seem to know everybody." And I explained to them that I was a principal, and they said, "Oh, we would have never spoken to our principal at the shopping centre." But that was the heart of the students at Suncoast. They were just welcoming and accepting of us and who we were. So. Yeah, lots of very fond memories around the students at Suncoast.
So to add to the shopping centre experience, it wasn't unusual to see students, even though they were in civvy clothing, standing to attention and tucking their shirts in because they were so used to doing it when they saw Brian.
I remember talking to a boy once in my office, dripping wet, on one of the very wet days that Suncoast has when we're almost going to shut the school. And we had this moment of silence. We looked at each other and I said, "Tell me," I won't mention his name, "why did you bring the boogie board to school?" And he said, "Going to be a wet day, Mr. Hornby. I thought I'd surf on the oval." I thought it was a great response. I'll let him off.
I remember the time when Alan actually left the school and became a school pastor over at Mumbai State School. And Alan was a very keen surfer. So they got him to stand on a surfboard, but I don't know how they did it, but somehow or other there was double-sided tape or glue or whatever. So he stood on the surfboard, couldn't move off, and everyone waterbombed him. So that's the sort of nonsense that cropped up every now and again. But underlying all that was just this real sense of mission, real sense of purpose, but just abbreviated every now and again by something pretty silly.